I'm standing in the middle of his mama's living room right now, and every eye in this house is on me. His cousins, his aunties, his boys from the block, his coworkers, they all came for this Sunday dinner like they do every month. But what they don't know is that today I'm serving something different. Today I'm serving the truth on a silver platter. And trust me when I say, nobody's gonna have an appetite after this. Marcus is looking at me like I done lost my damn mind. His mama's in the kitchen finishing up the mac and cheese, humming to herself, completely clueless. His sister Keisha is scrolling through her phone on the couch. Everything looks normal. Everything looks perfect. But I got my phone in my hand, and on this phone, I got screenshots, I got messages, I got hotel receipts, I got photos that would make his mama drop that casserole dish right on her good tile floor. "Baby, what you doing?" Marcus asks, walking over to me with that smile, that same smile that used to make my knees weak, that same smile he was giving another woman 3 nights ago when he told me he was at a conference in Miami. "I'm about to tell everyone here a story," I say, and my voice is steady, cold, calm. "Sit down, Marcus." He laughs nervously. "Come on now, what's going on?" I said sit down. The room gets quiet. His boy Dre puts down his beer. His cousin Tasha stops mid-sentence. Even his mama pokes her head out the kitchen. "Everything all right out there?" "Come on in here, Miss Patricia," I call out. "You're gonna want to hear this." Now let me tell you how a 29-year-old black woman from Atlanta, a woman who grew up believing in loyalty and keeping your man happy and standing by your person through thick and thin, let me tell you how that woman became the one standing in this living room about to blow up an entire family gathering. Let me take you back. Let me show you every lie, every red flag, every moment I ignored my gut because I was too busy being the perfect girlfriend. Let me show you how I went from trusting him completely to becoming a woman who don't play games no more. This is about to be a long story, so everybody better get comfortable. 3 months ago, I was living what I thought was my dream life. Me and Marcus had been together for 2 years. We met at a Juneteenth cookout in Piedmont Park. He was friends with my cousin's boyfriend. I was there with my girls. And when our eyes met across that crowded park, I swear it felt like something out of a movie. He walked right up to me, bold as hell, and said, "I don't usually do this, but I'd be a fool to let you walk out of here without at least getting your name." His confidence was magnetic. He was fine, 6'2", athletic build, clean fade, teeth so white they practically glowed. He worked in commercial real estate, drove a nice car, had his own place in Buckhead. On paper, Marcus Thompson was everything a woman could want. Our first date was at Poor Calvin's in East Atlanta. We talked for 4 hours straight. He told me about growing up in College Park, about his mama raising him and his sister by herself after his daddy left. He told me about working 2 jobs to pay for college at Georgia State. He told me his dreams, owning his own real estate firm one day, buying his mama a house, making something of himself. I told him about my own story, growing up in Southwest Atlanta, working as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup, my dreams of eventually starting my own consulting business. We connected on everything, our families, our ambitions, our faith, our love for Atlanta. By month 3, I had a drawer at his place. By month 6, he had a key to my apartment. By year 1, we were talking about marriage, about babies, about building a life together. His mama loved me, called me her future daughter-in-law. His sister Keisha and I became close, going to brunch, getting our nails done, talking about wedding plans, even though he hadn't proposed yet. I was part of the family. I was home. I thought I knew this man inside and out. I thought we told each other everything. I thought we were solid. I was wrong about all of it. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself. It creeps in slowly, disguised as normal life. And if you ain't paying attention, if you too busy being happy, being trusting, being in love, you miss every single warning sign until it's too late. Looking back now, the signs were always there. I just didn't want to see 'em. It started with a text message I wasn't supposed to see. We were at his place on a Wednesday night about 3 months ago. I was cooking dinner, my grandmother's recipe for smothered chicken, and Marcus was in the shower. His phone was charging on the kitchen counter, and it kept lighting up with notifications. I wasn't trying to snoop, I really wasn't, but when you're standing right there and a phone lights up 5 times in 2 minutes, you notice. The first few messages I could see from the lock screen were from his boy Dre. "Yo, you watching the game tonight? Hawks playing like trash. Come through later." Normal stuff, but then another message popped up and the name made me pause. Jas, Amos T. Just those 3 characters, a name and a heart emoji. The preview said, "I miss you already, baby. When am I seeing you again?" No punctuation, no question mark, just a statement, a demand, really. I stood there, spatula in my hand, chicken sizzling in the pan, and something in my chest went cold. Who the hell was Jas? I'd been with Marcus for almost 2 years. I knew his friends, his family, his coworkers. I'd never heard him mention anyone named Jas. And why would some woman be texting my man saying she misses him and asking when she's seeing him again? The water shut off in the bathroom. I heard Marcus moving around, and I quickly turned back to the stove, my heart pounding. He came out a few minutes later, smelling like soap and cologne, smiling like everything was perfect. He walked up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist, kissed my neck. "Smells amazing, baby. You spoil me." I should have asked him right then. I should have said, "Who's Jas and why is she texting you with heart emojis?" But I didn't. You know why? Because a part of me didn't want to know. A part of me wanted to keep living in the perfect bubble we'd built. So instead, I said, "Your phone's been going off. Might want to check it." He grabbed his phone, looked at the screen, and I watched his face carefully. There was a flicker, just a split second, where his expression changed. His jaw tightened. Then he relaxed and smiled. "Just the boys talking about the game tonight," he said easily. Too easily. He typed something quick and put the phone in his pocket instead of leaving it on the counter like he usually did. That was red flag number 1. The lie had begun, and I just let it slide right past me. We ate dinner that night like nothing was wrong. We watched TV. We made love. And the whole time his phone stayed face down on the nightstand, and that name, Jas, stayed in the back of my mind like a whisper I couldn't quite shake. The next morning, I told myself I was being paranoid. Marcus loved me. We were solid. So what if some woman texted him? Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe I was tripping. But here's what I learned. When your gut tells you something's wrong, it usually is. Women's intuition isn't magic. It's your subconscious picking up on 1,000 tiny details that don't quite add up. And my gut was screaming at me. I just wasn't ready to listen yet. 2 weeks after that text message, Marcus came home and told me he had to go to Miami for a real estate conference. "It's a big one," he said, packing his suitcase on a Thursday evening. "All the major firms in the Southeast are going to be there. Great networking opportunity. I'll be gone Friday through Sunday." "A weekend conference?" I asked, watching him fold dress shirts. "Yeah, they do the main sessions Friday and Saturday. Then there's a networking brunch on Sunday morning. I should be home by Sunday evening." It sounded legitimate. He showed me the conference website on his laptop, the Atlantic Regional Real Estate Summit, scheduled for that exact weekend in Miami Beach. Hotel block at the Fontainebleau. Everything checked out. "I wish you could come with me," he said, pulling me close. "But it's pretty stuffy, all business. You'd be bored out of your mind." "It's okay," I said, kissing him. "Go handle your business. Make those connections." He left Friday morning, texted me at the airport, sent me a photo of his boarding pass, called me when he landed. "Just got to the hotel," he said, and I could hear street noise in the background. "About to check in and head to the opening session. I'll call you tonight, baby. Love you." "Love you too." Everything seemed normal. I went about my weekend, hit the gym, met my girls for brunch on Saturday, did some work from home, caught up on my shows. Marcus texted periodically, complained about boring sessions, sent me a photo of the hotel pool, called me Saturday night before bed. "This conference is draining," he said, and he did sound tired, "but I'm making good contacts. How's your weekend?" "Good. Missing you, though." "Miss you too, baby. I'll be home tomorrow evening. Maybe we can order in, watch a movie?" "Sounds perfect." Sunday evening, he came through my door with his suitcase and a tired smile. We ordered Thai food, cuddled on the couch, and watched Netflix. He told me about the conference, which sessions were useful, which were a waste of time, who he networked with. Everything seemed perfectly normal, except for one tiny detail I wouldn't discover until later. The conference website he'd shown me, it was real. The Atlantic Regional Real Estate Summit was a real event. It did take place that weekend in Miami Beach. Hotel block at the Fontainebleau, everything checked out. But Marcus Thompson's name wasn't on the attendee list. He never registered. He was never there. And that Sunday night, while he was sitting on my couch eating pad thai and telling me about networking sessions he never attended, there was a woman in Miami, a woman named Jasmine, who was posting Instagram stories from the Fontainebleau Hotel. Stories that showed her by the pool, stories that showed her dinner at a fancy restaurant, stories that showed her in a hotel room with rose petals on the bed and champagne on ice. I wouldn't see those stories for another 2 weeks, but when I finally did, they would confirm what I had started to suspect, but was too afraid to admit. The man I loved, the man I trusted, the man I was planning a future with, he was living a double life, and I had been so blinded by love, so desperate to believe in us, that I'd ignored every single warning sign along the way. After that Miami trip, something shifted in me. It was subtle at first, just a nagging feeling that wouldn't go away. I started paying closer attention, watching, listening, and once you start looking for cracks in a perfect picture, you see 'em everywhere. Marcus's phone habits changed. He used to leave it lying around, face up, notifications visible. Now it was always face down, always on silent, always within arm's reach. He'd take it to the bathroom with him. He'd check it compulsively, and when I'd ask who was texting, it was always work, always his boys, always something innocent. Then there were the showers. Marcus started showering immediately when he got home from work. Every single day, he'd walk through the door, kiss me hello, and head straight to the bathroom. When I asked him about it once, he said he felt gross after being in the office all day, wanted to feel fresh. Made sense, right? Except he'd never done that before in 2 years. His work schedule became more unpredictable. Late meetings that ran past 9 p.m., client dinners on weeknights, Saturday morning office emergencies that couldn't wait. He was always apologetic, always had an explanation, always made it up to me later with flowers or a nice date, but the frequency kept increasing. And then there were the business trips. After Miami, there was Austin, then Charlotte, then Nashville. All for conferences, client meetings, property viewings, all perfectly reasonable for someone in commercial real estate, all impossible for me to verify without seeming crazy and controlling. My girl started noticing something was off with me. "You good?" my best friend Shayla asked me one Saturday when we were getting our nails done. "You seem distracted." "I'm fine," I lied, watching the nail tech paint my fingers burgundy. "You sure? Because you've been checking your phone every 5 minutes. I had been. Marcus was supposedly at the office dealing with paperwork for a new property deal, but something about it felt off. He'd been vague about the details, rushed off the phone when I called earlier, told me he'd be home by dinner but couldn't give me an exact time. "It's nothing," I told Shayla, "just work stress." But it wasn't work stress. It was the feeling that I was slowly losing my grip on reality, like I was going crazy, like I was becoming one of those paranoid girlfriends I used to judge, the ones who checked their man's phone, the ones who drove past his house, the ones who couldn't just trust. Except my gut was screaming that something was wrong. And every time I tried to push it down, ignore it, convince myself I was being irrational, something else would happen that would bring the suspicion roaring back. Like the perfume. I was doing laundry one Sunday. Marcus had stayed over at my place the night before, and I was going through the pockets of his jeans before throwing them in the wash. That's when I found the receipt. CVS. Purchased 2 days ago. Chanel Coco Mademoiselle perfume. $85. My heart stopped. That wasn't my perfume. I wore Marc Jacobs Daisy. Always had. Marcus knew that. He'd bought it for me multiple times. So who was he buying Chanel for? I stood there in my laundry room holding that receipt and felt something crack open inside my chest. This wasn't paranoia. This was proof. Concrete, undeniable proof that something was going on. When Marcus came out of the shower, I was sitting on my bed with the receipt in my hand. "Hey, baby, what you want for breakfast? I was thinking we could hit that spot in—" "Who did you buy perfume for?" He stopped. His smile faltered. "What?" I held up the receipt. "Chanel Coco Mademoiselle, $85, 2 days ago. Who was it for?" I watched him think, watched him calculate, watched him choose his lie. "Oh shit," he said, and his face broke into this sheepish grin. "You found me out. I was gonna surprise you for your birthday next month. I know it's early, but I saw it on sale and wanted to grab it before they ran out." My birthday was 6 weeks away. "You were gonna get me a perfume that's not my usual scent for my birthday 6 weeks early?" "I thought you might want to try something new," he said, walking over and sitting next to me. "You always wear the same one. I thought maybe you'd like to switch it up, but if you want me to return it—" "No," I heard myself say. "No, it's thoughtful. Thank you." He kissed my forehead. "I love you, baby. I just want to spoil you sometimes." And just like that, the moment passed. He made us breakfast. We spent the day together. Everything went back to normal. Except it wasn't normal, because that perfume, it never materialized for my birthday. When the day came 6 weeks later, he got me a beautiful necklace and took me to Stony River for dinner. No perfume, no mention of it, like that conversation in my laundry room had never happened. That's when I knew for certain. I didn't have all the pieces yet. I didn't know who or how long or how deep the betrayal went, but I knew. Marcus was cheating on me, and now I had a choice to make: confront him with my suspicions and probably get more lies, or keep quiet, investigate, and gather proof that was so undeniable he couldn't talk his way out of it. I chose option 2. I chose to become a detective in my own relationship, to watch and wait and collect evidence, to play the loving girlfriend while privately planning my next move. Looking back, that was the moment I stopped being a victim and started becoming something else, something colder, something calculated. I was about to discover exactly who my man really was, and when I did, he was gonna wish he'd never underestimated me. I started small, subtle, because the last thing I wanted was for Marcus to know I was suspicious. I needed him to think everything was normal, that I was still the trusting girlfriend who believed every word he said. First, I paid attention to patterns. What days did he claim to work late? What nights did he go to the gym? When did the client dinners happen? I started keeping mental notes, then actual notes on my phone, hidden in an app that looked like a calculator. Tuesday and Thursday nights, late at the office. Wednesday evenings, gym with Dre. Every other weekend, property viewings or conference prep. I cross-referenced his stories with his social media. Marcus wasn't big on posting, but his boys were. And if he was really at the gym with Dre on Wednesdays, Dre's Instagram would show it. Except it didn't. Dre would post from the gym on Mondays and Fridays, never Wednesdays. Strike one. Then I started checking his LinkedIn. If he was going to all these conferences, making all these professional connections, his network would be growing, right? He'd be posting about industry events, sharing insights, connecting with new people in commercial real estate. His LinkedIn hadn't been updated in 4 months. No new connections, no posts about Miami, Austin, Charlotte, or Nashville. No conference photos or networking updates. Strike 2. Then I created a fake Instagram account. Just a burner, no photos, generic name, 0 followers. Then I started searching. I looked up the hashtags for every conference he supposedly attended. Atlantic Regional Real Estate Summit, Southeast Property Investors Conference. I scrolled through hundreds of photos looking for his face. He wasn't in single one. Strike 3. But I still didn't have the smoking gun. I didn't have messages, photos, proof of another woman. All I had was evidence that he was lying about where he was. I needed more. So I did something I never thought I'd do, something that would have horrified the old me, the trusting me, the me from 3 months ago. I installed a tracking app on his phone. It wasn't hard. One Saturday morning while he was in the shower at my place, I grabbed his phone off the nightstand. He didn't have a passcode, had stopped using one months ago, said it was annoying to type it in all the time. I should have seen that as a red flag too, but hindsight is 20/20. I downloaded the app, set it up to share his location with me, then buried it in a folder with a bunch of other apps he never used. The icon looked like a weather app. He'd never notice. My hands were shaking the whole time. Part of me felt guilty. This was an invasion of privacy, a violation of trust. But then I remembered the perfume receipt, the conference lies, the phone always face down, and I pushed the guilt away. If he had nothing to hide, the app would show me that. If he did, well, I'd finally have my proof. The next Tuesday, Marcus texted me at 6 p.m. "Baby, I'm so sorry. Client meeting running late. Probably gonna be here until 9. Don't wait up for dinner. Love." I texted back, "No worries, baby. I'll save you a plate. Good luck. Love." Then I opened the tracking app. His phone wasn't at his office building in Midtown. It was in Buckhead, at an address I didn't recognize. I pulled up Google Maps and typed in the location. The Residence Inn, a hotel. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I sat on my couch, staring at that little blue dot on my phone screen and felt my whole world tilt sideways. He was at a hotel on a Tuesday night while telling me he was at a client meeting. I watched the dot stay at that location for 3 hours. At 9:15, it started moving. By 9:45, it was back at his apartment in Buckhead. At 10 p.m., my phone rang. Marcus calling me like he'd promised. "Hey, baby, just got home. That meeting was brutal. I'm exhausted." "Poor thing," I said, and my voice sounded normal, even though my hands were shaking. "Get some rest. I'll see you this weekend." "Definitely. Love you." "Love you too." I hung up and sat there in the dark, and I realized something. I wasn't sad. I wasn't crying. I was angry, cold, calculated, furious. Because now I knew, and knowing meant I had power. Power to choose what happened next. Power to control the narrative. Over the next 2 weeks, I tracked him 5 more times. Every Tuesday and Thursday like clockwork, that blue dot ended up at the Residence Inn in Buckhead. He'd stay for 2 or 3 hours, then go home. But I still didn't know who she was, and I needed to know. I needed to see her face, know her name, understand exactly what I was dealing with. That's when I decided to follow him. Thursday evening, 6 p.m., I was sitting in my car in the parking garage across from Marcus's office building, wearing sunglasses and a baseball cap, like I was in some kind of spy movie. My hands were gripping the steering wheel, my heart racing, every nerve in my body on high alert. This was crazy. I knew it was crazy. Normal people don't stake out their boyfriends. Normal people don't turn into private investigators in their own relationships. But nothing about this was normal anymore. At 6:45, I saw him. Marcus walked out of his office building, briefcase in hand, phone to his ear. He was laughing at something whoever was on the other end said. He looked relaxed, happy, like he didn't have a care in the world. He got in his car, that black Audi Q5 I used to ride in, and pulled out of the garage. I waited until he was a block ahead, then followed. My phone was propped up on my dashboard, the tracking app confirming what I was seeing with my own eyes, that blue dot heading north toward Buckhead, toward the Residence Inn. I stayed 3 cars behind him the whole way, through downtown Atlanta traffic, onto the highway, through the Buckhead streets I knew so well. My palms were sweating. My mouth was dry. Part of me wanted to turn around, go home, and pretend this wasn't happening, but I didn't. I kept following. He pulled into the Residence Inn parking lot at 7:20. I parked across the street in the lot of a restaurant where I had a clear view of the hotel entrance. Watched him get out of his car, watched him check his phone, watched him walk inside, still looking like he didn't have a guilty bone in his body. I sat there for 5 minutes, 10, 15, wondering what I was doing, wondering if I really wanted to see what came next. Then she walked up. A woman, late 20s, maybe 30, light-skinned, long curly hair, designer purse, heels that cost more than my car payment. She was beautiful, objectively, undeniably beautiful, the kind of woman that turned heads when she walked past. She looked nervous, kept checking her phone, looking around like she was afraid someone might see her. Then Marcus came back outside. I watched him walk up to her, watched him smile that smile I thought was just for me, watched him pull her into a hug that lasted too long, watched him kiss her forehead, watched him walk into the hotel together, his hand on the small of her back. And I sat there in my car watching the hotel entrance and felt something inside me go cold and still. I wasn't sad anymore. I was past sad. I was past hurt. I was in a place beyond emotion, a place that was pure calculation. I took pictures, dozens of them, him walking in, her walking in, them together, timestamps visible on every single one. Then I waited, because I needed to know how long. How long did they stay in there together? An hour? 2? All night? I sat in that parking lot for 2.5 hours. At 9:53 p.m. they came out together. He walked her to a car, a white Mercedes C-Class. They stood there talking for 10 minutes. He kissed her, not a peck, a real kiss, the kind that told me this wasn't new. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a relationship. She got in her car and drove off. I took photos of her license plate. He stood there for a minute, watching her leave, then got in his own car and headed home. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Marcus, right on schedule. "Hey, baby, just got home from that meeting. You still up?" "Yeah, just watching TV. I miss you. Wish you were here." I closed my eyes, took a breath, made my voice soft and sweet. "Miss you too, baby. I'll see you Saturday, right?" "Definitely. I'm taking you somewhere nice. Dress up." "Can't wait. Love you." "Love you too." I hung up and sat there in the dark, and I smiled. Not a happy smile, a dangerous smile, because now I had everything I needed. Photos, timestamps, license plate, hotel name, the whole truth laid out in front of me like evidence in a trial, and I was about to become judge, jury, and executioner. But I wasn't gonna rush. I wasn't gonna confront him emotionally. I wasn't gonna give him a chance to lie his way out or make me look crazy. Nope, I was gonna be strategic, calculated, patient. I was gonna make sure that when the truth came out, it came out in a way he could never recover from. Over the next 3 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. On the surface, I was the same Tasha, loving girlfriend, sweet and supportive, planning our future together. But underneath, I was systematically building a case that would destroy him. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Angela who specialized in infidelity cases. She was expensive, $1,500 for 2 weeks of surveillance, but worth every penny, because while I had some evidence, she could get things I couldn't, like her name. Jasmine Rodriguez, Angela told me over coffee at a Starbucks in Midtown, sliding a manila soda across the table. 28 years old, works as a pharmaceutical sales rep, lives in a condo in Buckhead, single, no kids, active on social media, though her accounts are mostly private. I opened the folder. There were photos of her going to work, leaving her gym, meeting friends for drinks. And then there were photos of her with Marcus, at restaurants, walking through Piedmont Park, sitting in his car outside her condo. "How long?" I asked, my voice steady even though my hands were shaking. "Based on what I could find, at least 6 months, maybe longer." 6 months, half a year, all those business trips, all those late nights, all those lies. "There's more," said Angela quietly. "They're not trying to hide it, at least not in their circles. His boy Dre knows. I saw 'em all out last weekend. Marcus, Jasmine, Dre, and his girlfriend, like a double date." His boy knew. His best friend since college knew and never said a word to me. "What do you want to do with this information?" Angela asked. I looked at those photos, at Jasmine's face, at Marcus's face looking at her the way he used to look at me, at the evidence of a relationship that had been thriving while I was planning our future. "I want everything," I said. "Every place they've been, every time they've met, text message records if you can get 'em. I want a complete picture." "That's gonna cost more." "I don't care. I need to know everything." She nodded. "I'll have a full report for you in 1 week." That week was the hardest of my life. I had to pretend everything was normal. I had to smile when Marcus took me to dinner on Saturday. I had to laugh at his jokes. I had to kiss him goodnight and act like I didn't know that just 2 nights before he'd been with her. But I did it because I had a plan forming, and it was bigger than just confronting him privately, bigger than just breaking up and moving on. I wanted him to feel what I felt. I wanted him exposed. I wanted everyone who looked at us and thought we were goals to know the truth. I wanted his mama, who called me her future daughter-in-law, to know what kind of man she raised. I wanted his sister, who'd become my friend, to know he'd been lying to her too. I wanted justice, public, undeniable, devastating justice. When Angela gave me the final report, it was worse than I thought. They'd been together for 8 months. 8 months of him living a double life so seamlessly that I didn't suspect nothing for the first 5. The conference in Miami, they'd spent a romantic weekend at the Fontainebleau, the beach, fancy dinners, couple spa treatments. The client dinner last month, he'd taken her to Ray's at the river, the same restaurant he'd taken me for our 1-year anniversary. The perfume I'd found the receipt for, he'd given it to her. She'd posted about it on her Instagram story. My baby knows me so well, with a photo of the Chanel box. I sat in my apartment surrounded by photos and reports and evidence, and I made my decision. Marcus's mama's Sunday dinner was coming up 2 weeks. The whole family would be there. His cousins, his aunties, his boys, his coworkers, everyone who knew us as a couple, everyone who'd be at our wedding someday. That's where I'd do it. That's where I'd serve the truth. But first, I needed to do one more thing. I needed to reach out to her. I found Jasmine's Instagram through Marcus's tagged photos. Her account was private, but her profile picture showed her face clearly. The same woman I'd seen at the hotel. The same woman in Angela's surveillance photos. I could have sent her a message from my real account, but I wanted the element of surprise on my side, so I created another fake account. This one with a few photos pulled from stock image sites, 100 random followers bought online, just realistic enough to not look suspicious. I sent her a DM. "Hey girl, I think we need to talk about Marcus." She accepted my follow request within an hour, read my message immediately. Then nothing. No response for 3 hours. I could see her going through my profile, trying to figure out who I was. Finally, who is this? Me, someone who cares about the truth. "You should know he has a girlfriend. Her name is Tasha. They've been together for 2 years. She has no idea about you." The 3 dots appeared and disappeared, appeared and disappeared. She was typing and deleting, typing and deleting. Finally, "You're lying." Me, I have proof, photos of them together, dates, times. His mama calls her his future daughter-in-law. I can send you everything. Another long pause. Then, send it. I sent her photos of Marcus and me from the past few months. Us at his mama's house, us at a wedding, us on vacation in Savannah. Photos that were on my real Instagram, photos that showed a happy couple in love. Then I sent her the screenshot of the perfume receipt, the one I knew he'd given to her. That receipt, it was in his pocket when she did his laundry. He told her it was for her birthday, but you got it instead, didn't you? 5 minutes passed. Then, oh my God. Me, he told you he was single, didn't he? Her, he said he'd been single for a year, said he was focused on his career and wasn't looking for anything serious, but then he met me and everything changed. The lies, the same smooth lines he'd probably used on me. Her, all those business trips he told me about, he was with her. Me, yes, and all those nights he told her he was working late or at client meetings, he was with you. The dots appeared again, then stopped, then appeared. I could feel her world crashing down through the screen, the same way mine had crashed down 3 weeks ago. Her, I need to see him. I need to hear this from him. Me, don't, not yet. He'll just lie to both of us, separate us, make us fight each other instead of him. Trust me, I have a better idea. I told her my plan, told her about the Sunday dinner in 2 weeks, told her exactly what I wanted to do. At first, she didn't respond. I thought maybe I'd lost her. Maybe she loved him too much to go through with it. Maybe she'd warn him. Then, after 20 minutes, I'm in. Send me the details. That last week before the Sunday dinner was surreal. Marcus had no idea what was coming. He was planning our future, talking about looking at rings soon, about wanting to propose before the end of the year. I was thinking maybe we take a trip for your birthday, he said Tuesday night. We were at his place, eating Chinese takeout on his couch. Somewhere tropical, Jamaica maybe, or the Bahamas. That sounds amazing, I said, twirling lo mein around my fork, my voice bright and excited even though inside I felt nothing. I've always wanted to go to Jamaica. Then Jamaica it is, he kissed my temple. I want to give you the world, baby, you know that, right? I know. He had no idea that while he was planning romantic getaways, I was planning his destruction. That while he was looking at engagement rings online, I had photos of him with another woman in my phone. That while he thought he was getting away with everything, the walls were closing in. Thursday night, he told me he had to work late again. I told him it was fine, that I understood, that I'd see him Saturday. Then I watched the tracking app on my phone as his blue dot moved from his office to the Residence Inn in Buckhead. I didn't feel anything anymore. No anger, no hurt, just cold determination. Saturday, we went to brunch at West Egg Cafe. His sister Keisha was supposed to meet us, but she canceled at the last minute. She's been acting weird lately, Marcus said, cutting into his French toast. Distant, you noticed? I had noticed, ever since I'd planted seeds of doubt about Marcus's business trips, casual mentions that I'd tried to verify his conference attendance online and couldn't find records, innocent questions about whether she'd seen him post anything from Austin and Nashville. Keisha had been pulling back. She loved her brother, but she wasn't stupid. She was starting to see the cracks. Maybe she's just stressed with work, I offered. Maybe, he reached across the table and took my hand. I'm glad I have you. You're the most real thing in my life. You know that, right? I smiled, squeezed his hand back. You're sweet. If he'd been paying attention, he might have noticed my smile didn't reach my eyes. He might have noticed I'd stopped saying I love you first. He might have noticed I'd pulled back in 100 tiny ways. But Marcus wasn't paying attention. He never had been. He was too busy juggling 2 lies to notice that one of them was about to explode. Sunday morning, the day before the dinner, I woke up feeling calm, clear, ready. I texted Jasmine, "You still good for tomorrow?" Her, "Yes, what time?" Me, "Dinner starts at 3. Come at 4. That gives them time to get comfortable. I'll make sure the door's unlocked. Her, I can't believe I'm doing this. Me, he deserves it. We both deserve better. Her, you're right. See you tomorrow. I spent the rest of the day preparing. I put together a folder on my iPad, screenshots of text messages Angela had managed to obtain through means I didn't ask about, photos from surveillance, receipts, hotel records, everything organized chronologically, labeled and dated. I also prepared what I was going to say, practiced it in front of my mirror, made sure my voice would stay steady, my hands wouldn't shake. This wasn't about emotion, this was about truth. About justice, about making sure that when I walked out of that house tomorrow, everyone would know exactly who Marcus Thompson really was. That night, Marcus called me before bed like he always did. "You excited for tomorrow?" he asked. "Mama's making your favorite, mac and cheese and fried chicken." "Can't wait," I said. "I love your family dinners." "They love you too, baby. Everybody does. You know Mama was asking me again when I'm going to put a ring on it." "Would you tell her?" "That I'm working on it, that I'm trying to make sure everything's perfect." He paused. "You're going to say yes, right, when I ask?" My chest tightened. Not with love, not with hope, with rage at the audacity of this man to propose to me while he was sleeping with someone else. "Of course I will," I lied. "I can't wait to be your wife." "I love you so much, Tasha." "I love you too, Marcus." It was the last time I'd say those words to him, the last time he'd hear my voice, soft and sweet and trusting. Tomorrow, he'd hear something very different. Tomorrow, the truth was coming home. I showed up to Miss Patricia's house at 2:30, half an hour early. I wanted to help her set up like I always did, wanted everything to seem normal. "Baby girl," she greeted me at the door, pulling me into a hug that smelled like cocoa butter and love. "Come on in, help me with these greens." We worked in the kitchen together, talking about nothing important. Her church's upcoming revival, the new pastor's wife, neighborhood gossip. Marcus was in the living room with his boy, Dre, watching some football pregame show. By 3 o'clock, people started arriving, his aunties, his cousins, his coworkers from the real estate firm, the house filled with voices and laughter and the smell of soul food. Marcus kept his arm around me as we mingled, introduced me to people I hadn't met yet. "This is my lady, Tasha. We've been together 2 years." Every introduction was a lie by omission. Every smile was a mask. At 3:45, I excused myself to use the bathroom, checked my phone. Message from Jasmine. "I'm 5 minutes away. Nervous as hell." Me. "Don't be. Stay strong. This is his karma, not ours." I went back to the living room, sat on the couch, waited. At 4 o'clock exactly, the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," Miss Patricia called out, wiping her hands on her apron as she walked to the door. This was it. Everything I'd planned for the past 3 weeks was about to unfold. I heard the door open, heard Miss Patricia's confused voice. "Can I help you, sweetheart?" Then I heard Jasmine's voice, shaken but determined. "I'm looking for Marcus Thompson. Is he here?" The living room went quiet. Marcus's head snapped toward the door. I watched his face drain a color. "Who's asking?" Miss Patricia said, still polite but puzzled. "My name is Jasmine. I'm his girlfriend." The room erupted, voices talking over each other. Marcus jumped up from his seat. I stayed exactly where I was, calm and still. "What the hell?" Dre muttered. Keisha's eyes went wide. "What is she talking about?" Marcus was already moving toward the door. "Mama, this is a misunderstanding. This is just a misunderstanding." Jasmine pushed past Miss Patricia, and I saw her for the first time in person, in daylight, with all eyes on her. She looked terrified but determined. "You told me you were single, Marcus. You told me—" "Baby." Marcus reached for her arm. "Don't touch me," she jerked away. "You lied to me. You've been lying to me for 8 months." That's when I stood up. Everyone's eyes turned to me, the girlfriend, the one they all knew, the future daughter-in-law. 8 months, I said, my voice clear and strong. "Is that how long it's been?" Jasmine's eyes met mine across the room. We'd never met in person, but in that moment, we understood each other perfectly. "You're Tasha," she said. "I am." Marcus looked between us, and I watched the realization hit him. We both knew, and we'd planned this together. "Wait," he said, his voice rising with panic. "Wait, just everyone calm down, let me explain." "Explain what?" I cut him off. "Explain how you've been sleeping with both of us? Explain how every business trip was a lie? Explain how you took her to Miami while telling me you were at a conference?" Miss Patricia gasped. "Marcus, is this true?" "Mama, is it true?" she demanded. He couldn't lie, not with both of us standing there, not with the whole room watching. "I made mistakes," he finally said, his voice breaking. "I messed up, but I love—" "Don't," I said coldly. "Don't you dare say you love me. You don't lie to people you love. You don't disrespect them. You don't humiliate them." I pulled out my iPad, turned it on, pulled up the folder I'd prepared. "Everyone in this room thinks Marcus is a good man. His mama raised him right. He's successful, charming, going places." I looked around at all their faces. "But you should know who he really is." I turned the iPad screen toward the room, started swiping through photos. Him and Jasmine at restaurants, at the hotel, text messages where he told her he loved her while telling me the same thing. Receipts from romantic getaways I was never invited to. "That's not all," I continued. "He told her he was single, told her he wasn't looking for anything serious until he met her. The same lies he probably told me 2 years ago." Jasmine's voice joined mine. "He took me to Ray's on the River, said it was his favorite place, made me feel special." "That's where he took me for our 1-year anniversary," I said, looking directly at Marcus. "Did you take all your girls there? Is that your move?" His face was red. His hands were shaking. Everyone was staring at him with disgust, disappointment, rage. "Marcus Andre Thompson," Miss Patricia said, and her voice was ice. "You got 2 women in my house right now because of your lies? Mama, don't mama me. Did you cheat on this girl?" She pointed at me. He couldn't answer. "Did you lie to both of them?" Did you lie?" "Yes," he finally shouted. "Yes, I did. I messed up, but get out," I said. Everyone looked at me. "This is my mama's house," Marcus said. "You don't get to—" "Get out," Miss Patricia repeated, and her voice was shaken with fury. "I didn't raise you to treat women like this. I didn't raise you to be a liar and a cheat. Get out of my house." "Mama, now." The room was dead silent. Marcus looked around at all the faces, his family, his friends, his coworkers, and saw nothing but disappointment and disgust. He grabbed his keys and walked out, the door slammed behind him. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then Miss Patricia walked over to me and Jasmine. Her eyes were filled with tears. "I am so sorry," she said. "Both of you. I'm so sorry my son did this to you." "It's not your fault," I said quietly. She pulled us both into a hug, and standing there in that living room, surrounded by his family who were now on our side, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. The next 3 days were chaos. Marcus called me 67 times. I didn't answer once. He texted me hundreds of messages, apologies, excuses, begging for a chance to explain. I read every single one and responded to none of them. He showed up in my apartment building Tuesday night. I watched him from my window, pressing my buzzer over and over, pacing on the sidewalk. After 20 minutes, my neighbor threatened to call the cops. He left. His mama called me Wednesday morning. "Baby girl," she said, and I could hear she'd been crying. "I just want you to know that what Marcus did don't reflect on how I raised him. You deserved better. You deserve better." "Thank you, Miss Patricia. If you need anything at all, you call me, you hear?" "I will." Keisha texted me. "I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner. You're my sister regardless of what my stupid brother did. Love you." Dre surprisingly also reached out. For what it's worth, I told him he was playing with fire. I told him it would blow up. I should have told you. That's on me. I'm sorry. The story spread fast, through social media, through mutual friends, through the Atlanta grapevine that moves at light speed. By Thursday, everyone we knew had heard about the Sunday dinner blow-up. Some people took his side, called me petty for exposing him publicly, said I should have handled it privately, called Jasmine a homewrecker even though she'd been lied to just like I had. But most people understood, especially the women. They'd been there. They knew the pain of betrayal. They knew the rage of being played. And they respected the fact that I hadn't just walked away quietly. Jasmine and I met for coffee on Friday. It was strange, sitting across from the woman who'd been sleeping with my boyfriend, knowing we were both victims of the same man. I really didn't know, she said, stirring sugar into her latte. I swear to God, if I'd known. I believe you. When you reached out to me, I was so angry at first. I thought you were just some crazy ex trying to start drama. But then you sent those photos. She shook her head. I felt so stupid. We both were played. Yeah, she looked up at me. Thank you for including me in that, for letting me have closure too. A lot of women would have just confronted him alone and left me in the dark. You deserve the truth as much as I did. We talked for 2 hours, compared notes on his lies, his patterns, the way he'd manipulated both of us so skillfully. She told me about other small things that hadn't added up. Weekends he was busy with work, times he couldn't see her because of family obligations that were actually dates with me. We weren't friends, probably never would be, but we had an understanding, a shared experience that bonded us in a strange way. As for Marcus, last I heard he moved to Charlotte for a fresh start. His mama barely speaks to him. Keisha calls him on holidays and that's it. Dre stopped answering his calls. He tried reaching out to me one more time, about a month after the Sunday dinner. Not a text or a call, a letter delivered to my apartment. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity got the better of me. The letter was 5 pages long, handwritten, full of apologies and explanations and justifications. He said he loved me, said he'd made mistakes but wanted to make it right, said he'd go to therapy, do whatever it took. He said he was sorry for humiliating me, for lying, for breaking my trust. But nowhere in those 5 pages did he take actual responsibility. Nowhere did he acknowledge the systematic, calculated nature of what he'd done. It was all I made mistakes and I messed up. Passive language that made it seem like he'd accidentally tripped into an affair instead of deliberately building a double life. I read it once. Then I took a photo of it and posted it to my Instagram story with the caption, "This is what manipulation looks like. Learn to recognize it." Then I burned it, lit it on fire in my kitchen sink and watched it turn to ash. 6 months after that Sunday dinner, I'm sitting in my new apartment in Midtown. I moved out of my old place. Too many memories, too much pain attached to those walls. This place is mine, fully mine. No shared spaces, no traces of him. I got promoted at work, finally launched that consultant side hustle I'd been planning, started traveling. New York, LA, Miami. Yes, Miami. And I stayed at the Fontainebleau just to reclaim it. Spent time with my girls, reconnected with parts of myself I'd lost while trying to be the perfect girlfriend. I went to therapy, worked through the betrayal, the anger, the ways I'd ignored red flags because I was so invested in the relationship. Learned about my patterns, my boundaries, what I'll accept and what I'll never tolerate again. I dated a little, nothing serious, just reminding myself that there are good men out there, men who don't lie, men who don't need to juggle multiple women to feel validated, men who understand that love isn't about deception, it's about showing up honestly every single day. My friends say I'm different now, harder, more guarded, less likely to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're right, but I call it wisdom. I call it self-protection. I call it knowing my worth. Some people think I went too far that Sunday, that I should have broken up with him privately, that humiliation was cruel. But here's what I know. Marcus Thompson spent 8 months making a fool out of me. He spent 8 months lying to my face. He spent 8 months destroying my trust while I was planning our future. He didn't humiliate himself in front of his family. I didn't make him cheat. I didn't make him lie. I just made sure everyone saw the truth. And honestly, I don't regret a single second of it. Because that Sunday dinner wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my power. It was about refusing to be the victim who slinks away quietly. It was about standing up and saying, I deserve better than this, loud enough for everyone to hear. Some nights I still think about him, wonder if he's changed, wonder if he's doing the same thing to some other woman in Charlotte, wonder if he ever truly understood what he destroyed. But mostly, I don't think about him at all, because I'm too busy building a life I'm proud of, a life where I don't settle, a life where I trust my instincts, a life where I know that being alone is better than being with someone who makes you feel small. That Sunday dinner taught me something important. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference, and that's exactly where I am now. Marcus Thompson, he's just a chapter in my story, a lesson learned, a reminder of who I never want to be with again. But me, I'm the whole damn book, and I'm just getting started. It's been a year since that Sunday dinner, a full year since I stood in Miss Patricia's living room and watched Marcus's whole world crumble. I ran into Jasmine last month at a restaurant in Buckhead. We hadn't talked in months. She was there with a man, tall, handsome, looked at her like she hung the moon. We made eye contact across the room. She smiled. I smiled back. No words needed. We'd both moved on. We'd both healed. And that Sunday dinner, it had set us both free. Miss Patricia still calls me sometimes just to check in, see how I'm doing, tell me she's proud of me. She said Marcus is still in Charlotte, still single as far as she knows. She said he asks about me sometimes. I don't ask back, because the thing about revenge is that it's not about making someone suffer. It's about making sure they face the consequences of their actions. It's about refusing to protect their image at the cost of your truth. And I told my truth, loud and clear, in front of everyone who needed to hear it. Some people call me the crazy ex, the bitter girlfriend, the woman who couldn't let go. But I call myself free. Free from lies, free from betrayal, free from a man who never deserved me in the first place. And that Sunday dinner, that wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a woman who knows her worth, who trusts her instincts, who will never again ignore red flags for the sake of keeping the peace. I'm dating someone now. His name is Derek. He's patient, honest, transparent, gives me access to his phone without me asking, tells me where he's going before he goes, introduces me to everyone as his girlfriend, proudly, publicly. Is it hard to trust again? Yes. Do I still catch myself checking his location sometimes, waiting for the other shoe to drop? Absolutely. But I'm working on it. I'm healing. I'm learning that not everyone is Marcus. And Derek, he understands. He knows my story. He read that Instagram post I made about the letter, and instead of running away from my trauma, he runs toward it. He proves every single day that he's not that kind of man. So here I am, 29 years old, living in Atlanta, thriving in my career, healing from my past, building toward my future. And Marcus Thompson, he's a memory, a scar that's faded but taught me something valuable. Some people might say I wasted 2 years of my life on him, but I don't see it that way. Those 2 years taught me exactly what I don't want, exactly what I won't tolerate, exactly who I need to be to never end up in that situation again. That Sunday dinner was the day I stopped being a victim and became a survivor. And I'd do it all over again.